Peace to everyone. This is Mr. Malmad from the Islamic House of Israel. I think this one's going to be a pretty good one. Marriage, Islamic marriage. We're going to talk about true Islamic marriage today. All right? Not from hadiths, but the truth about it. Not from the state, but the real spiritual marriage from the Most High. All right? This topic, it can be broken up into like when I was researching and doing my thing, it's like, man, this topic can be broken up into like 5 different sections. I might have to make a part 2 because it was just so much information on it. And I know I didn't get all the information in yet. We're going to talk about right hand possessed. We're going to clear that up today. Because when you think right hand possessed, everybody thinks slave. And when we think about slavery, we think about chattel slavery. So we're going to get into that. All right. So peace to the room. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to get started. We'll talk about Islamic marriage. Islamic marriage to the house of Israel is the same as Israelite marriage. All right. We don't differentiate. When I say Islamic, I mean Israelite as well. There is no difference in the Islamic house of Israel. There's no difference. So I'm going to go in and out of this presentation just to interact with the people. All right, let me put up my... This is off a little bit. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. All right, Islamic marriage based on Quran and Torah. Based on Quran and Torah. All right, we're going to try to get to all this. This is not going to be in order. All right. Well, we'll move on. We'll try to get to all this good stuff. We'll move on. All right, so we're going to talk about the process of marriage. Marriage isn't lawful unless the woman is seeked out with gifts from the man's property. All right, apostrophe, sorry about that. From the man's property. All right, Exodus 22:16, if a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. If her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the bride price for the virgins. All right, so there's different types of marriages or different types of obligations that the man is supposed to fulfill based off the woman. If the woman is a virgin, there's an obligation. If the woman is not a virgin, there's an obligation. There's a different obligation. If the woman is right hand possessed, there's different obligations based off the woman. If the woman is a hoe, there's different obligations. So a woman's sexuality, a woman's nature, or a woman's body count is for a man seeking a wife is very important. Very important. Let me go back. All right, so categories of women. Virgins. Virgins, there is a bride price to the father. The father is the head of the family. So it is a bride price to the family, but the father is going to receive it because the father is the head of the household. And the father protects the woman. and make sure the woman keeps her virginity. The father is considered the wali, or the master of his daughters, and that is his reward for keeping his daughter a virgin. All right. Permission is supposed to be seek. You're supposed to seek permission from her master or her dad. Okay. Quran 44, and give the women their gifts gracefully, but if they give up willingly to you anything of it, then take it in satisfaction and ease. All right. So the virgin price is different than gifts. A virgin price is a is I'm not gonna say down payment, but it is a price. It's not really like giving gifts to make somebody, it's an actual bottom line price. So for a virgin, you have to give gifts. You have to give her gifts. You have to give the family. It's just a bride. I wrote this so fast. I'm sorry. Bride price. Okay. You got to give the bride price, which is called really is called the dowry. The dowry is really goes to the father, goes to the family. Sex. That's how you cut the covenant. We'll talk about cutting the covenant, and you have to seek permission. These are the things that has to be done before the marriage to the Creator is lawful. Totally 100% lawful. The gifts is number one. Number one. All right. Now, cutting the covenant. How it's supposed to be. The ideal of how marriage is supposed to be. All right. We know we're not living in a perfect world. But if it was a perfect marriage, the woman would be a virgin. If it was a perfect marriage. And the man would enter the woman would bleed. That's called cutting the covenant. That blood is a part of the covenant. The bleeding is a part of cutting the covenant. All right. And then that woman will be binded to that man, hopefully for a life forever. Chemically. Category of women, non-virgins. Seek her with gifts from your property. There is no virgin price, but gifts is an obligation. All right. Take away that blood. I meant for that to be on the other one. Okay. The woman must not be promiscuous. She must not be a whore. She must not be a prostitute. Because she must not have many partners, a lot of partners. Because if she is, it'll be hard for her to pair bond, and the relationship more likely will go into divorce and fall apart. All right. If there's no other issues, it'll be hard for her to attach to the man if she's a hoe. Another category of women, right hand possess. Now, I'm talking about non-captives. Now, there is a type of right hand possess that is a captive, but most right hand possess are not war captives. They could be. All right. This is all right. So right hand possess. First, let me show you what a right hand possess is before we go into this. What a right hand possess is. All right, this is the right hand possess. A right hand possess is not a slave. It's a servant. A slave and a servant is really different. Handmaids, a right hand possess could be a male or a female. A male could be a right hand possess. It could be a family. Handmaids, right hand. Those are right hand possess. They're owned by the females. Hagar was Sarah's right hand possess. Okay. Right hand possessed are indentured servants. They're under contract. They're under oaths. Now, if there are captives that you bring into your house and they become right hand possessed, that's different. This marriage, right hand possessed, is based on contracts. Contracts. Right hand possessed. Right hand possessed, they're under a contract. They're always under a contract. Their contract, not when you marry them, but if you you got an indentured servant living on your land, you gotta, this is for rich people, all right? A lot of poor people don't understand right hand possessed. This is for rich people. They have a lot of land. You got 100 acres of land, and you got some people working as indentured servants. You're taking care of the whole. They're poor. You're taking care of the whole family. You contracted them. I will take care of you for 6 years. You work for me for 6 years. I'll give you that land. I'll give you your family that land. Whatever. That's right hand possessed. They're under oath. They're under your possession. You're their master. All right. Like it did, and they're under contract for a certain amount of years. Now, you can sell their contract to somebody else. That's why in the scriptures it says, you can, you can sell them. If you sell a Hebrew servant to somebody else, you can sell their contract. Just like you go work at McDonald's and they put you on a contract, but let's pretend that they're putting you on a contract. They probably gonna start doing that because they need workers to stay for years. So they put you on a contract, and they need you to go work in another store. They sell your contract to somebody else, and you just got to get up and you got to go to the other store. They sold your contract. That means they sold you. All right. Or basketball players. Basketball players, they go from team to team. All right. But these people are getting paid. They get food, they get shelter, food, shelter, clothing. And after the 6 years, the Quran says you're supposed to let them free and you're supposed to give them something out of your wealth. Okay. So the Islamic world got this totally wrong. Right hand possessed is an indentured servant. Right hand possessed is also sharecropping. That's right hand possessed. Now let me show you something deep. Our great 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 grandfather, what is his name? Jacob was right hand possessed. He was a right hand possessed. He worked for 7 years. Then he worked for 7 more years. Joseph was a slave at first, and then he became right hand possessed. Hagar was right hand possessed. Our great 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 grandparents, the mothers of the Israelites, 2 of them were right hand possessed. Leah was Zilpah master. Abraham had a right hand possessed. That was a male. We're gonna go into that verse. So, right hand possessed, you cannot rape a right hand possessed. All right. A right hand possessed is supposed to, you can pay off the contract if you see a right hand, because right hand possessed, um they're cheaper to marry. That's why it says if you can't afford believing women, then marry of your right hand possessed. Because they're already on the contract, you're already taking care of them. But you have to seek them out with you have an obligation. And they must be chaste. And you must not seek. We're gonna look at these verses. And you must not seek them out to prostitute them. And we're gonna look at those verses about prostituting right hand possessed. You're not supposed to do that. So you're rich because let me explain something to you. African Americans and the Muslim world, we don't understand right hand possessed because a lot of us are poor. If you own 100 acres and you have people come up to you and say, hey, I will work for you for 6 years, just provide me with a little hood over there or whatever. All right. Concubine. Concubine. The word concubine. Let's see what a concubine is. The word concubine is, they changed the definition of this too. In English, you would think it's something totally different. No. In Aramaic, concubine is a half-wife. So it's a wife that you have not fully given her full obligation. A concubine could turn into a full wife once you fulfill your obligation. All right. So the misconception, and I'll probably have to show you a verse on this. I have to show you a verse. The misconception is, let me see if I can find it. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at this verse. Let me show you the misconception. If a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. Okay, so this man has had sex with a virgin. Is it this fornication? It is. It's fornication, right? If you look up the word fornication, zina, zina, zina means unlawful sex. Zina means when you have sex with your mother, your father, your uncle, homosexuality, your auntie, your nephews. That's zina. If a man and a woman get together and they're both single, that's not fornication. That's not zina. That's actually lawful. It can't be unlawful because a man and a woman is supposed to get together. That is natural. But now, this man did not receive a punishment. He committed fornication with his virgin. He did not receive a punishment for it. What he was made to do is make it right. Shotgun marriage. So a man and a woman getting together is not wrong because that's natural. A man and a woman are supposed to get together. But you can make it right. That's what I'm trying to say. You can make it right. So this person right here committed quote unquote fornication, but he shall give a bride price for her and make her his wife. So he had to fulfill his obligation. So basically, before he hasn't paid the bride price yet, so she is a concubine. She is in a limbo state as a concubine until he pay that bride price. Now her master, her wali, her father, he didn't seek permission from the father either. Strike two. So the father could be like, "Nah, give me my money, and I'm gonna keep her, and you ain't gonna get her." The father could do that. But there's no punishment for it. He's not gonna be put to death or nothing like that. It's not adultery. All right. But it is, he didn't seek her with gifts. He might have seeked her with gifts. He might have did that. But he didn't respect the father and give the bride price and ask for permission. But then he didn't get punished for it. But it's very bad. It's very bad to do that. All right. All right, let's look at an example. I'm gonna move on here. We're gonna look at an example. We're gonna look at, this is an example of Abraham setting up a marriage. Now, you have to understand, there's no such thing as a court system during this time. There was no such thing as a court system during Muhammad's time. People got married, let me get rid of this, based off the chemicals found in the woman's attachment. That's how they got married, through the woman's attachment. Sister Noah, could you come here? I want to read this about Abraham. This is a really good example of Abraham. Abraham is the example of what we should do. How much I want her to? Can you come here? Hold on, let me drop the link. I need you to read for me, please. All right, so there's no courthouse you could go to draw up no paperwork. You had to get a virgin, and she had to attach to you, and that was the marriage. You had to give her gifts. She attached to you. She'll be with you forever. If somebody have sex with her, like they raped the Israelites' sister, they defile her. It was gonna be hard for her to attach after being raped. Salam alaikum. I want you to read something for me.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. Am I doing good so far?
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna put it up. It's Genesis. I mean, this topic is like, it's a lot of stuff. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get all of it in. Okay, this is very important. This is an example. I don't know why they got this picture up here. Full chapter. All right, we're going to Genesis 24. How you doing today?
Doing well, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Invite, share. Chromebook, Genesis 24. All right, can you see it?
Yes.
All right, we're going to see two things in this. We're going to see Abraham's right hand possessed, and it's a male. When we think about right hand possessed, men think about, oh man, women, oh, we're going to have sex with women. No, Abraham's right hand possessed was a male. Okay? Men can be right hand possessed.
Abraham was now very old, and the Lord had blessed him in every way.
Yeah,
He
money.
said
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
he said to the senior servant in his household, the one in charge of all that he had, "Put your hand under my thigh."
Pause it.
I
Pause it. I'm sorry. This is a right hand possessed. Abraham didn't have a child, and Abraham was going to give this right hand possessed all of his stuff because he didn't have a child, so he was going to give it to his servant. So
I
they're
want
not just rooted. They're not just rooted poots. Go ahead.
I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I am living, but will go to my country and my own relatives and get a wife for my son Isaac.
All right. So Abraham is trying to find a wife for his son Isaac, and let's see how. Let's look at the process. Let's see is it comparable to the Quran, to the scriptures. Go ahead.
The servant asked him, "What if the woman is unwilling to come back with me to this land? Shall I then take your son back to the country you came from?" "Make sure that you do not take my son back there," Abraham said. "The Lord, the God of heaven, who brought me out of my father's household and my native land, and who spoke to me and promised me on oath, saying, 'To your offspring I will give this land,' he will send his angel before you, so that you can get a wife for my son from there. If the woman is unwilling to come back with you, then you will be released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there." So the servant put his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore an oath to him concerning this matter.
All right. That's it. Keep going.
Then the servant left, taking with him 10 of his master's camels, loaded with all kinds of good things from his master. He set out for Aram Naharaim and made his way to the town of Nahor. He had the camels kneel down near the well outside the town. It was toward evening, the time the women go out to draw water.
Wow. Women are working, huh? Keep going. They working. Go ahead.
Then he prayed, Lord, God of my master Abraham, make me successful today and show kindness to my master Abraham.
Look at that. He was a
See,
believer. Whoa, he's a believer, right?
yes,
He's a believer. He praying for him. Now, this is not the chattel slavery. When you working at McDonald's, you right hand possessed. Right now, African Americans, we are right hand possessed in this country. That's what we are. That's our status. All right, go ahead.
see, I am standing beside this spring, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. May it be that when I say to a young woman, please let down your jar that I may have a drink, and she says, drink, and I'll water your camels too. Let her be the one you have chosen for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master.
You go.
Before he had finished praying, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder. She was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. The woman was very beautiful, a virgin, no man who had ever slept with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up again. The servant hurried to meet her and said, please give me a little water from your jar. Drink, my lord, she said, and quickly lowered the jar to her hands and gave him a drink. After she had given him a drink, she said, I'll draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough to drink. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the well to draw more water, and drew enough for all his camels. Without saying a word, the man watched her closely to learn whether or not the Lord had made his journey successful.
Keep going.
When the camels had finished drinking, the man took out a gold nose ring weighing a becca and
Ooh,
two gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels.
ooh.
Then, then he asked, whose daughter are you? Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?
Pause it. Wow, he pulled out. What did he pull out?
Two gold bracelets and a nose ring, gold nose ring.
The nose ring. When a woman wore a nose ring in the Israelite culture, that meant you was married. A gold, you know how much gold is worth? I got to look up 10 shekels. Bracelets, gold, gifts, consistency, gifts. Keep going.
She answered him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son that Milcah bore to Nahor. And she added, we have plenty of straw and fodder, as well as room for you to spend the night. Then the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, praise be to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his kindness and faithfulness to my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives.
Pause it. Now you go over to Africa, they still use these terms. They still use these terms. Overseas, they use, some of the terms. All right. In America, we have a false economy. All right. We don't know what poor really is. Keep going.
The young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and he hurried out to the man at the spring. As soon as he had seen the nose ring
You see
and the
it?
bra-
I'm
and
sorry.
the bra- mhm, and the bracelets on his sister's arms, and had heard Rebekah tell what the man said to her, he went out to the man and found him standing by the camels near the spring.
Pause it. So when people got married back then, if you liked the woman, you sent a bunch of gifts to her house, and her family would see all the gifts. If you send a bunch of flowers and a bunch of gifts to the family house, they gonna look and say, "Who gave you that?" Everybody gonna know based off those gifts. Who gave you that? Now, if you accept the gifts from multiple dudes, what is that called? No, what is that called? If you got 5 dudes giving you gifts and you accept them all, what is that? What is that? What does that mean?
Uh, Confusion.
No, that's a gold digger.
Oh, okay. Oh,
If you don't like the
yeah.
man, you send the gifts back and say no. If you accept the gifts, you're saying yes. You don't accept gifts from multiple. You know what I'm saying? Didn't your grandma tell
Yes.
you not to be accepting stuff from men?
Yes.
Yes. So a wretched woman will accept gifts from all kind of dudes. I get gold from him and gold from there. That's like a gold digger.
Mm.
And she don't want the man. If she don't want Isaac, she need to give those gifts back and say, nah, I'm good. Keep going.
Come, you who are blessed by the Lord, he said. Why are you standing out here? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels.
She
So
like
the
those
man
gifts. And let me tell you, those gifts are expensive. Gold is very, very valuable. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so the man went to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and fodder were brought for the camels, and water for him and his men to wash their feet. Then food was set before him. But he said, I will not eat until I have told you what I have to say. Then tell us, Laban said. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has blessed my master abundantly, and he has become wealthy.
Yeah.
He has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, male and female servants, and
Uh-oh.
camels and donkeys.
Pause it. Abraham had a lot of right hand possess. Now, in the Torah, there's a word for servant and there's a word for slave. There's two different things. You could beat a slave, but you can't beat no servant. You can't beat a right hand possess. There's two different things. Go ahead.
My master's wife, Sarah, has borne him a son in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. And my master made me swear an oath and said, You must not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live,
That's them
but
white folks. Keep going.
but go to my father's family and to my own clan and get a wife for my son. Then I asked my master, What if the woman will not come back with me? He replied, The Lord, before whom I have walked faithfully, will send his angel with you and make your journey a success, so that you can get a wife for my son from my own clan and from my father's family. You will be released from my oath if, when you go to my clan, they refuse to give her to you. Then you will be released from my oath. When I came to the spring today, I said, Lord, God of my master Abraham, if you will, please grant success to the journey on which I have come. See, I am standing beside this spring. If a young woman comes out to draw water and I say to her, Please let me drink a little water from your jar, and if she says to me, Drink, and I'll draw water for your camels too, let her be the one the Lord has chosen for my master's son. Before I finished praying in my heart, Rebecca came out with her jar on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew water, and I said to her, Please give me a drink. She quickly lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I'll water your camels too. So I drank, and she watered the camels also. I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She said, The daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him. Then I put the ring in her nose and the bracelets on her arms, and I bowed down and worshiped the Lord.
He
I prayed
fulfilled. Hold on. He fulfilled the obligation. Keep going.
I praised the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me on the right road to get the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you will show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so I may know which way to turn.
Pause it. Now, when you give those gifts, when Rebecca got those gifts, she felt good. Okay? Now, if you don't give the gifts, she's gonna feel slighted. and she's gonna give you hell. She's not gonna see you as a good person. You give her gifts, she goes, "Wow, he's a generous guy. He's a good person." She's gonna be emotionally. You're gonna be emotionally positive. She's gonna feel like you're a positive being, good energy. If you don't, if you don't give her no gifts, she's always gonna feel slighted and always gonna be like against you. And she gonna give you hell, and she should. Can you keep going?
Laban and Bethuel answered, "This is from the Lord. We can say nothing to you one way or the other.
Okay.
Here is Rebekah. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has directed." When Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord.
Wow, he making salat.
Then the
Good.
servant brought out gold and silver jewelry and articles of clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and to her mother. Then he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night there.
Pause it. Now, here's another example. They gave gifts to the family, the brothers, the mothers, the whole family, and gave them more gold and silver, more gifts. Hold on. More gifts. Is it this? No. Is it this consistency?
Yes, absolutely.
So brothers, we need to look into this, and we need to make sure we're doing this. Because we're not, then our relationships are not gonna go well at all. Keep going.
When Abraham's servant heard what they said, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Then the servant brought out gold and silver and jewelry and articles of clothing and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night there. When they got up the next morning, he said, "Send me on my way to my master." But her brother and her mother replied, "Let the young woman remain with us 10 days or so. Then you may go."
Pause it. All right. Now, here, this is the feast right here. Let the young woman remain with us 10 days or so, then you will go. They're going to have a feast for her. They're going to have a farewell feast. All right. The devil got it backwards. All right. How do we do it? We do it at the beginning, right? We do it at the beginning. But they do a feast for like to send the daughter off. We're gonna miss
Right.
you. Our 10 last days with our daughter. We're gonna have a party, and we're gonna this is our 10 last day. We're not gonna see her in a long time. We finna send her off, but we're gonna have some fun. We'll have a feast for her.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. That's their sister, they're not gonna see her in a long time. Go ahead.
But he said to them, "Do not detain me, now that the Lord has granted success to my journey. Send me on my way so I may go to my master." Then they said, "Let's call the young woman and ask her about it." So they called Rebekah and asked her, "Will you go with this man?" "I will go," she said.
All that she had to agree. And is no is there is no impulse. There's no rape. If she would have said nope, I don't want to go, then she would have never went anywhere. She had to agree. Go ahead.
So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way, along with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his man.
Wow,
And they
Rebecca. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rebecca has a right hand possession. Rebecca has a nurse, a personal nurse. Nowadays, women don't have that in America. Women have to fend for themselves. In the biblical days, women had personal nurses, handmaids,
mm,
personal maids. Women in America do it all by themselves. That's not good. Keep going.
and they blessed Rebekah and said to her, "Our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the cities of their enemies."
Beautiful.
And then Rebekah and her attendants got ready and mounted the camels and went back with the man. So the servant took Rebekah and left.
All right, I think we kind of covered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think we covered it. We good?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. So I mean, I just wanted to show the example of right hand possess, and I wanted to show the example of the gifts. And now let's look at the Quran. I'm gonna say something about. Let's look at the Quran real quick. All right. Let me share my screen. All right, so women are right. Broke dudes shouldn't marry. Let's look at the Quran, 24:33. But let them who find not marriage abstain until Allah enriches them from his bounty. Wow. So if you can't afford to give her gifts, then you should not be getting married. You should wait until you get money. I'm not gonna say money. You should wait. Now, in Africa, certain parts of Africa, you might go borrow the money from your uncle or something like that. They go borrow cows to get married. Or, I mean, in the case of Isaac, his dad paid for it. His dad was so rich, his dad paid for the dowry. All right. And those who seek a contract, oh, this is deep. And those who seek a contract from among whom your right hands possess. Right? Now, then, wait, let me keep going. Then make a contract with them if you know there is within them goodness, and give them from the wealth of Allah, which he has given you. Right here, this is misinterpreted. Okay? This is still talking about marriage. But this is talking about marriage to the right hand possess. Seek a contract with them. If you can find some good in them, seek a contract with them. Give them from your wealth. They need gifts. If you marry one of them, you have to, if you got 10 acres, you got wealth, 10 acres, then give them 1 acre. You got to give them up, you got to give them 1 acre. In America, they get stuff when you die. In the scriptures, you're supposed to give the woman, your wife, things up front. Or they get things when you divorce. When you divorce, they get half of your estate. No, they're supposed to already have something, but when you get married, you're supposed to give them a part of your estate. That is a part of the marriage. That is a part of the contract. If I have a house and I marry a woman and I put her on the house, that is a contract. Or if I got 10 acres and I got a right hand possess, I give her an acre. I contract an acre to her. I put her on the contract. This is your acre. This is a part of my wealth. Not no raggedy little diary or raggedy one little ring, but you give her a part of your estate, a part of your wealth. I'm sorry for saying it ain't right. I'm not gonna say raggedy. All right. I'm sorry. And do not compel your slave girls. Now, this word slave girl right here, in another translation, I can show you, it doesn't say slave in other translations. To prostitution, if they desire chastity, to seek the temporary muta, what they call it, muta marriage, to seek temporary interest of worldly life. So we should not be seeking muta marriages. And muta means temporary. And if someone should compel them, then indeed Allah is to them after their compulsion forgiving and merciful. So if a girl, we'll just say it is slave girl. If a slave girl is forced into prostitution, Allah will forgive her. That's deep. I know we hate prostitutes. We hate them. But Allah is merciful to them. A lot of Issa's followers were prostitutes. Now, the pimps, they're going to have a problem. In the book of Revelations, the pimps It says that the pimps are going to hell. It didn't say the prostitutes are going to hell. In the book of Revelations, the pimps are going to hell. Whoremongers are going to hell. But the prostitutes, those that are stuck, because the Quran says that men are responsible for women. They're in our custody. We're their custodians. They're like your children. We're responsible for them like children. I know y'all don't like this. Feminists might not like this, but we're responsible for them. If they get into if our country is in have a bunch of prostitutes, it's our fault. We didn't set up the country right. We should have set it up right. Or if we force the woman into prostitution, we pimp them out. It's on us. They might not have a choice. They might be like their dad. What if their dad died? Like, let's say the slave girl. Let's say it is slave girl. The slave girl's dad died. They have no wali. They have no master. They have nothing. All they got is you. And you gonna say, hey, go out there and make some money for me. She ain't got no choice. What's she gonna do? Allah will forgive her. Even if she do it, Allah forgive her. Okay, let's see. No, you got anything to say about that? Am I wrong?
Makes sense.
So I'm right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, makes sense. I mean, that clears up the whole thing we're talking about with the mukta marriage, or the temporary marriage that was brought up. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about rape. Is rape permitted? Can you rape the right hand possess? Can you rape right hand possess? No. There's no evidence that any of the prophets raped the right hand possess. Because right hand possess can be men. Jacob was right hand possessed. Is he supposed to be raped? Oh, you who believe, it is not permitted for you to inherit women against their will. And do not coerce them in order to take away some of what you have given them, unless they commit a proven adultery. So if you will them an acre of your 10, you got 10 acres, and you give them an acre, don't try to get it back. You get strung out on crack, and you try to, I gave it to you, can I get it back? I need it now. No, it's over. You gave it to her, it's over. You contracted it to her, it's over. But you're supposed to give that to her up front. She should not divorce you and try to get money from you. She should already have her portion up front. You got $1 billion. You need to go give about, the dowry 10 million off the top. So when we need to get a divorce, don't be coming over here. But if the man encounters a betrothed woman, this is the Torah, in the open country, and he overpowers her and lies with her, only the man who has done this must die. Do nothing to the young woman, because she has committed no sin worthy of death. This case is just like one in which a man attacks his neighbor and murders him. So raping a woman is like you murdered her. And you did, because she's going to be messed up for the rest of her life. You murdered her. She's like she's murdered. When she get with somebody else, she's probably going to give the new dude hell. Women have a right to divorce. Noah, could you read that first part of that? Because I think they get tired of my voice. Go ahead.
If a woman feareth ill treatment from her husband or desertion, it is no sin for them twain if they make terms of peace between themselves. Peace is better. But greed hath made present in the minds of men, if ye do good and keep from evil, lo, Allah is ever informed of what ye do.
Pause it. Look at this, y'all. So if a woman fears ill treatment, the treatment hasn't come yet. She fears that she's going to be deserted. It hasn't come yet. She's just fearing it. She can sense that it's coming. She can make a decision. This is a divorce. This is a divorce agreement. She has to make the decision to go into a settlement because she feels the fear. This settlement is divorce. So she can initiate it if she feels ill treatment. No, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Is this making? Do you understand what I'm saying, Noah?
Yes. Yes.
Is this proof that she can initiate some type of settlement if she feels desertion or ill treatment?
Yes, if she it says here, yeah, if she fears ill treatment or if she feels desertion.
Now, how she got to get permission from the dude that's ill treating her? How she go? Why she got to? She ain't got to get permission.
No. It says it is no sin for them twain if they make terms of peace between themselves. Peace is better, but
So
grief.
if she fear, she ain't even got to be mistreated. If she fear it, she can go to her dad and be like, "Hey, we need to sit down, and I want to get out of this mess because I feel like he ain't. I feel like he about to dip on me. I feel like he got mad one day. I feel like he about to slap me. I'm about to get up out of here. I just want to make peace with him, and we make a settlement. She can initiate it. Women can divorce. The Sunnis are lying. She ain't got to get no permission. How you gonna get permission from the dude that's about to get you? Go ahead. 4128. Can you read that? This is the same one, but it's a different translation.
If a wife fears cruelty or desertion on her husband's part, there is no blame on them if they arrange an amicable settlement between themselves, and such settlement is best, even though men's souls are swayed by greed.
Yes, it
But if
is.
ye but if ye do good and practice self-restraint, Allah is well acquainted with all that you do.
Cause let me tell you about a man. Even if it's messed up, even if we treating you bad, we don't want to let you go. We greedy. We want to keep you and her. We kind of greedy. We don't want to let you go. You know what I'm saying? We'll stay there, let it all burn down. You know, we kind of greedy. But a woman can't initiate a divorce, a peace treaty. And the man might feel the same way. The man might feel like, man, I got angry. You right. We need to separate because we probably go kill each other. They could sit down and be like, man, we don't get along. We both agree we don't get along. Let's settle it.
And
Now, what did it say? It says applicable settlement between themselves. That he's not above her. They making an agreement. They're talking as mutual people in this situation. It's a settlement. It's a peace treaty between two warring factors. He's not just I'll do it if I might give it to you, I might not. He's not above in this situation. Go ahead. What you about to say?
is that the same thing as the bill of divorce?
Uh, eh, kind of. It's like it's kind of like a settlement agreement, but like before you go to the judge, you make a settlement agreement.
Oh, okay.
But before the settlement agreement, it has to be an initiation of divorce. I mean, it has to be you want to break up.
Gotcha.
All right, let's keep going. Let's get to the good stuff. Can a man beat a woman? Could you read that for me? This is the biggie now. This is the controversial. This is the big thing. I'm gonna break it down.
Men are
This is
the
what well, hold
prot-
on. This is what the disbelievers use against us. But watch this. Go ahead.
Men are the protectors and maintainers of women, as God has given some of them an advantage over others,
That's
and
right.
because they spend out of their wealth. The good women are obedient, guarding what God would have them guard. As for those from whom you fear
Pause
disloyalty,
it. Pause it.
Mhm.
I want to look at this first part. Now, some translations say custodians of women. Same thing. Yes, men, we have an advantage over women. Women, you have a certain time in your life that you might have cramps and you got to slow down. All right. Our bodies is we have more testosterone. We can lift more weight. We can be busy all year round. We don't have no period to sit us down. We can work all year round. So that gives us an advantage. We can earn more. Cause we got more strength. We can do more variety of jobs. Or we could gather more money.
We have
And we
children.
don't and we don't get and we don't have children and we don't get pregnant. We don't have 9 months where we get pregnant. And that slows you down. So we have an advantage in life. That doesn't mean we're smarter. That doesn't mean any of that. That means we have an advantage. Yes. We don't get pregnant. I can have 2 jobs. You know what I'm saying? 3 jobs. And men, we have our own little network that we can climb above you in wealth. And it is what it is. Good women are obedient, guarding what God will have them to guard. Now, look, this is deep. Guarding, you ever seen a guard dog? Guarding is not, guarding could be a little rough if you guard something. You ever seen a guard dog? You ever seen a lioness? A guard, if you guard in the house, that's like you're not letting strangers come in. If the man want to bring his thug friends in that sell drugs, and she say, don't bring them hoodlums in my house. She's guarding the house. Don't bring them around my kids. She's guarding her kids. She's guarding the house, and she's guarding you too, because she know those dudes are gonna get you in trouble. She's supposed to guard the house like a dog, like a lioness. Now, some men might say, "Man, that's a masculine trait." No, they guard in their own way. It's not masculine. They watch the house. Now, if they're not guarding the house and they letting Negroes in the house, that's where you get the disloyalty. Read the next part. As for those, disloyalty. As for
Right.
those,
And just a real quick question.
go ahead.
And then also when we're saying guarding what God would have them guard,
With
we,
anything, yeah.
we talk about guarding their chastity as well, because it says, As for those from whom you fear disloyalty,
Yes.
admonish them and abandon them in their beds,
Yes.
then strike them.
Yes. Let's
But
talk
if
about
they
this. Go ahead. Keep going.
but if they obey you, seek no way against them. God is sublime, great.
Yes. Let's talk about this. Fear disloyalty. You know what disloyalty is? Disloyalty is when she got you going to work and she got dudes and she having sex with dudes in the house. Adultery. Disloyalty. Yeah, she bringing dudes in your house. She's supposed to be guarding your house, guarding her chastity. Now, if you fear disloyalty, what is the penalty for adultery?
Death.
According to Torah,
Death.
death is the penalty for disloyalty. I'm sorry, for adultery.
Adultery.
So if I have a wife and I can see that, man, she's about to commit adultery. She's spazzing out. It says you can strike her. All right. You can. It didn't say beat her. That's a pimp slap. That's a slap. You can slap her. Now the slap, one strike, not punch, not beat up, but a pimp slap. Okay. I know this sounds crazy. This is the wisdom from that. Number one, she is going to leave you because of that, because you slapped her. It's gonna break up the marriage. All right. So you're not gonna know if she committed adultery. You're not gonna be able to witness it when she's disloyal to you, and it might bring her back to reality. Because sometimes women get caught up in their emotions, and you slap her one time, she comes back, she comes to. Now, if you fear disloyalty, that's adultery. if you fear she's going to commit adultery, because that's a death sentence, you're actually helping her out. That's a death sentence if she commit adultery. So this slapping her will get her, it will make her leave you.
Right. And I will, and
And it will save her life. Go ahead.
just to kind of add to that, that when it says that, God has given men, given some of them an advantage over others, right?
Yes.
So, just men are naturally stronger than us, right? And
Yes.
you naturally mentally stronger, physically stronger, and can face different obstacles that come up in the world. But there's one thing, and this is just my opinion, that a man is weak with or can't handle.
Go
And
ahead.
that is the idea and the concept of his woman being unchaste or being disloyal or committing adultery.
Yeah, that kills
It's
her. That kills her.
if you look at history and you look at just things that happen with between men and women, like a man can forgive all of these things, right? But
Yes.
that thing with a woman being disloyal, it can take a man totally out of his mind.
Yes, it can.
All that strength and all of that he had, it can totally take him. So if you fear disloyalty,
Yeah.
because I mean, that's just
Because
alhamdulillah, Allah.
if she's disloyal, he might kill her.
Right. So this, look at it. It says if you fear disloyal, not that you've seen disloyalty, not that caught this in the act, but if you fear disloyal, because this one thing here, if you fear disloyalty, admonish them and abandon them in their bed. So walk away.
Hmm.
Then look at these steps. Look at these steps.
Yeah.
Number one, admonish them.
It didn't say
Okay.
body. It didn't say body slammer. It didn't say choke her to
Right.
death.
But
It didn't say punch her eyes out.
look at these steps though. Step one, admonish them.
Hmm.
All right. So basically call them out on it. All right. Hopefully that'll bring them back to where they need to be. Step two is abandon them in their bed. So now you walk away like, okay, I'm fearing disloyalty. I'm not gonna be lying with you, and I'm fearing disloyalty from you. Then
Hmm.
step three, strike them.
Yep. And then she would leave.
But if they obey you, seek no way against them. God is sublime and great.
Yes. Don't be trying. If don't be trying to cause trouble and nag her. Going
Right.
on and on. Keep
Right.
going. It's fine.
If you fear a breach between the two, appoint an arbiter from his family and an arbiter from her family. If they wish to reconcile, God will bring them together. God is knowledgeable, expert.
Right. So here's the breach. If there's a breach between the two, this is kind of like lawyers, but they got us really messed up. We our families are jacked up. So most of our families are not Muslim. So these lawyers are kind of doing the job, and it's not good because they want money. But it's supposed to be, arbiter. It's like a lawyer. But yeah, that's it is what it is. And I want to say something. I want to say something about the striking. I want to say one more thing about the striking. I don't know. Should I say this?
Go ahead.
Some women, if they're struck, some women don't even care about the striking. Because women can handle pain. Some women are so pissed off that this nigga will have this nerve to put his hands on me. They don't even care about the strike. They care about this dude put his hands on me. Is that true, Nora?
Um, I think that the strike in this particular situation, if you look at the grace and mercy of the process,
Yes.
number one, the brother feared disloyalty, and we
Yes.
know that that's the main weakness in a man's heart. It's not even a weakness. It's just something in a man's heart he can't handle. He
It's
can't
very
handle
bad.
his woman being disloyal.
Yeah.
Number one, admonish them. Okay. Number
Yeah.
two, all right. Hopefully that'll get it where it needs to be. Number two, she's abandoned them. Number three, if nothing else, to try to save this marriage. Okay, to try to save, like you said, or try to save this human being, because the penalty for adultery is death. Strike them.
And like if the man witness it, he can his testimony could put her to death.
Right. So,
His testimony alone. You
again,
don't need four witnesses. Go ahead.
all of these steps and stages and process is to get folks back where they need to be. And when I think about this again, I mean, as I'm talking this through, I'm having some level of understanding, even more level of understanding. It says that men are the protectors and maintainers of women. So I can relate this to being a parent, because
Yeah.
parents are the protectors and maintainers of children. And when children are doing something that they know that they're not supposed to do, we follow stages and steps with our children before we
That's
just go
true.
out and automatically spank them. Number one, we admonish them.
You do
Okay,
admonish them. Yeah.
okay, you know what you're doing is not what you're supposed to do. All right,
Right.
if you don't get it together, then there's going to be consequences. But
Reproach.
if they continue to do, and then you
Time out.
continue, all right, now I'm going to put you in time now, or now I'm going to take your game away, or now I'm going to take your phone away, or whatever we're taking away from them. And then after all of that, if they're still cutting up, all right, now I got to strike you. Now you got to get a spanking so I can bring you back to where you need to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I love you and I want you to be the best of you. And I'm just thinking of this as a parent. All right. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying with steps and stages. But now,
But this is not
you,
talk
you,
about drunk dudes and all that. People coming in
right.
drunk.
Now we're not talking, but you mentioned that the lady said, "Oh no, this nigga didn't strike me." Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
we're not talking about this nigga, this some type of nigga here. We're
Right.
talking
Right.
about
A
a
believer.
righteous. We're talking about a believer and a righteous brother who's not taking advantage of
Right.
his position. And
Right.
he's done all of the things that you've already talked about, seeking her with gifts, seeking her with his wealth, providing all of
Right.
these things.
Right.
All
Right.
right. And he wants what's best for her, for good in this life and the hereafter.
That's
And
true.
he's fearing disloyalty from her, which is a sin on her,
Yeah.
which can be punishable by death. Even
Right.
if
Yeah.
even if human beings, because in the current day society, no one is being, humans aren't going around putting people to death for
Right.
adultery, but
Right.
you never, but Allah's law is still in place. You could easily
Right.
go out, you can go be in a car accident and die.
Right.
We don't know, but things could happen to you, right?
Right.
So this person who, this man, he loves his wife, he's fearing this disloyalty, so he's following those stages. Now,
Yeah.
after he
Let me
after
say this. What if he catch her in the car with a dude, but they ain't have no sex in it like that? He just in the car talking, and he's like, man, he's fearing disloyalty.
so now
She's not disloyal. She just was in the car talking.
Right. So now you're following all of these stages that has already been set forth for you in the Quran. But actually, yeah, it has already been set forth for you in the Quran. But I will say this too. It says right up here, it says that the good women are obedient, guarding what God would have them to guard.
Right.
So then I would say, then if they're in a car with a man, all right, then they're not guarding what it is that God would have them to guard, because in addition to their chastity, it's also their honor.
Right.
It's
Right.
also their husband's honor and their family's honor. So what are you
Right.
doing in a car with some random dude? So I don't even know if that person, if there is in a car with a man and all of that, I don't even know if this verse applies to them. The bill of divorce may apply to that
I
situation.
mean, but it could be a misunderstanding. Admonish her with talk to her. It could. I mean,
Yeah,
she could have been stranded, and the dude picked her up to take her to the.
uh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I'm just
But
saying, you gotta
if she
talk to
was
her first.
stranded, then this wouldn't apply to her, because again, she was stranded. Okay, I'm
Right.
talking about, because But then you mentioned but she said, "Oh no, this nigga didn't strike me." Right.
Right, right, right.
All right. So number one, that sends up red flags for me
Okay.
because and you're a righteous man. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You follow the steps, and the last step was the strike, not the beat down, but a strike, like you
Right.
mentioned.
Yeah,
And
like a
she's saying,
slap.
"Oh," and she's saying, "Oh, and this nigga didn't." Well, that may be a red flag for you, brother.
Mm.
That you may need to go ahead and honor your right
Mm.
and seek a bill of divorce,
Right.
because now you're setting yourself up for failure. If you've
Right.
done all of these things that you're supposed to do as a husband and as a man, and this
Right.
person is doing all these things, and you followed that last protocol, and they came this all this nigga no this nigga didn't stuff, instead of having like an aha moment, you know, then all right, to you be your way, to me be mine.
That's the breach between the two. If they get a breach between the two.
Hmm.
Hmm. Now I want to go back to this. Like, look at this. It's both sides. It's a side for the woman right here, and she fear ill treatment. So the husband is not supposed to treat her bad either or desert her. All right, just want to make sure that's in there. You got anything to say about that? The ill treatment. It says
Right.
feareth ill treatment. Wow, feareth.
Right, because the same way women have certain have obligations to their husband to guard what is there to guard, men have obligations as well. And so we can see right here in the verses that ill treatment of the wife and desertion of the wife is not part of what this husband is supposed to be doing. Okay. So
Right,
if a wife fears this cruelty or feels this desertion, then there's no blame on them if they arrange an amicable settlement between
right.
themselves.
No blame.
Okay.
Right,
So it's not a one-way street in the
right.
sense of men have all of this
Power.
authority and power to do whatever it is that they want to do to their wife. No, we have rights. The Quran shows us that we have
Yep,
rights over each other.
yep. But they teach that it's all one way, and it's not.
And then what's so beautiful about the Quran is that verse, go back to that verse, this other verse
This one.
about the arbitration. It says, if you fear a breach between the two, appoint an arbitrator from his family and an arbitrator from her family. Because remember, when we go all the way back to the beginning, before the marriage was even constituted, who were involved in these two getting together?
The
The
family, the
family.
families,
The
the
family.
family.
He sought her by approaching the family. And we look at
Permission.
he commissioned by approaching the family. If we look at Isaac, peace be upon him, his family approached Rebecca's family. May Allah be pleased with her. Okay, so they saw each other. So now we're getting to a point in the marriage where it's getting toxic. So
Hmm.
now the families are going to come back together.
Right.
All right.
You don't need no white man court. The families come together. Go ahead.
Right, right. If they're gonna come back together, and at that point when they come back, the families talking this thing out. If they wish to reconcile, God will bring them together. God is knowledgeable and expert.
That's right. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So I mean, this I mean, this is God forbid, but let's say Rebecca and Isaac had problems. That would be an easy solution, right?
Right,
Abraham would have met Laban. They would have sat down and hashed it out, right?
right.
Yeah. All right. All right. So these are the women that are prohibited. You'll read that from?
Yes. Also prohibited are women already married, except those whom your right hand possess.
That's the captives. Let's talk about the captive. And I got a verse for that. Go ahead. Go.
Thus hath Allah ordained prohibitions against you, except for these, All others are lawful, provided you seek them in marriage with gifts from your property, desiring chastity, not lust, seeing that ye deserve benefit from them. Give them their dowers as prescribed. But if after dowry is prescribed, agree mutually to vary it, there is no blame on you, and Allah is all knowing, all wise.
Right. So if you gave an acre and you say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you another acre," you can add on to it. What else? With gifts of property. Oh, look at this part. This is where I'm telling you that this is where us men mess up. We do. We mess up. Right here. Desiring chastity, not lust, seeing that ye derive benefit from her, from them. This is where we mess up. When we marry a woman, we supposed to, like, we gotta find, she gotta have a talent or something. What can she bring to the table? Can she sew? What can she do? We gotta have some type of benefit. We don't just marry her because she got a big butt, because we lust after her. She have to have more substance. All right. Desiring chastity, meaning she don't need to be a whore. She don't have to be a virgin, but she got to attach to you. She don't need to be just an all-out whore with lustful, because it's just not gonna work out. You got anything to say on that?
No, that makes sense.
All right. All right, this is real quick. Two kinds of kinship, and he it is who hath created man from water, and hath appointed for him kindred by blood and kindred by marriage. For thy Lord is ever powerful. So there's a type of kindred by marriage as well. Two types of kindreds. All right. We already know that, right? All right. So this is going to tie into the part about women from the right hand possessed that are already married. All right. So this is the case where you can marry a woman that is already married from the right hand possessed. But this is the portion of the right hand possessed that are of the captives that you bring into your household. All right. Could you read that for me?
O you who have believed, when the believing women come to you as immigrants, examine them. Allah is most knowing as to their faith. And if you know them to be believers, then do not return them to the disbelievers. They are not lawful for them, nor
See that?
are
But
they.
hold on. See, but they're married. See that?
Mhm.
They're married and they're running over to the believers. Now they want to be believers, and their husband is disbeliever. You can't return them back to the disbelievers if they want to be with the believers. But they're still married. Keep going.
Nor are they lawful husbands for them, but give the disbelievers what they have spent. And there is no blame upon you if you marry them when you have given them their due compensation.
Yeah,
And
there's no.
hold
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and hold not to marriage bonds with disbelieving women, but ask for what you have spent, and let them ask for what they have spent. That is the judgment of Allah. He judges between you, and Allah is knowing and wise.
So we're not supposed to marry disbelieving women. Mm-mm. We're not. We're gonna get on into this in the next slide. So this is what it's talking about, where you can marry from the right hand possess, like of the portion that's the captives. All right, that are
And
married.
also it says, and hold not to marriage bonds with disbelieving women,
That's right.
but ask for what you have spent, and let them ask for what they have spent. All right. So we got situations in our
Go ahead.
community where brothers will marry a
We'll
sister,
we're gonna get into that.
and the
Go ahead.
sisters, okay, and the
No, no, no. Go ahead.
sisters,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and the sisters are claiming that they are Muslim and so on and so forth. And then when you get married to them, they show you something totally different. They show you that they're not really into Islam. They're not really Muslim or a believer. The ayat right there says you're not supposed to hold on to that.
Mm. And a lot of sisters They do that. They get rid of them if they drop their Islam. They
Well,
get rid of
I'm
them.
not talking about the sisters right now because I've met sisters who will drop a husband, and I've met sisters who they will if a man comes to them and says, "Hey, I'm not Muslim anymore. I'm sorry," and then the sister will say, "Well, okay, brother, peace be unto you, but I can't stay married to you."
But the men and
It's
the
common.
men don't do that.
But the men, well, they will still hold on to these women. They will hold on to them, and I understand that men are loyal. I
Mm,
understand that. But we got to look at what this verse says. If you know for a fact that this woman that you're married to is into some other stuff
right,
besides belief in the oneness of the Most High, then that's not what you need to be holding on to. You
that's
need
right.
to, leave them in peace, and they leave you in peace.
That's right. I should have put this one. Hold on. Okay, you go to war. Okay, I should have put this one. Bring her. Okay, we'll come back to that one. We on the disbelief, and I want to stay on the disbelief. We'll come back to that one. All right. This right here is really for the men. All right. And do not marry polytheistic women until they believe. And a believing bondswoman is better than a polytheist, even though she might please you. And do not marry polytheistic men to your women until they believe. And a believing slave is better than a polytheist, even though he might please you. Mm. Those, can you please read that, Nora?
All right.
Those.
Though those invite you to the fire, but Allah invites to paradise and to forgiveness by His permission.
Pause it. So if you got a woman that's a Hindu, disbeliever, and every day she's trying to tell you about Hindu stuff, or she's a Buddhist, and every day she wakes up and she put a statue, you like, I don't believe in that. But every day you're tempted. That your wife, your
Or a
husband,
Christian.
yeah, I'm gonna get into that, is inviting you to the fire every day. Why go through that? Women that are unlawful for men. There you go. Those who associate partners. Now, they lie to the Sunnis. They say people of the book are Christians and Jews, and we can and men can marry Christians. No, you cannot. Christians are those who associate partners. Christians are polytheistic. They ain't no such thing as no three gods in one. Three gods is poly. That's three different gods. It's not one. Three does not equal one. Buddhists, voodoo, hoodoo, people that practice that. Sunnis, the ones that kiss that stone. Hindus, all traditional indigenous beliefs, etc. You can add on to this list. Those that associate partners are not lawful for us to marry.
And that verse with the Christians, that, like you said, and you mentioned that in a previous program, that's talking about the Nazarenes.
Those are Torah
And
keepers. You can
and
marry Torah keepers.
yeah,
You can
and the
marry
same.
those that, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You can marry those that keep the Torah because they're not associating partners. Men that are unlawful for women. Same thing. A long time ago, I had this friend. He was a professor when I was younger, and he married this woman. She was a Catholic, and like Christmas time, she would put a tree in the front. He said, I don't celebrate that." But he probably was. More likely, he was. But as a Muslim, he was not supposed to be with her. And is a hundreds and hundreds of Muslim women that are single without a man, and these Muslim men are marrying Christians, marrying disbelievers because they told that they can do it. The women can't do it, but the men can do it. When they misinterpret the scriptures, no, men can't do it either. You're supposed to marry Muslims, supposed to marry Muslims and have Muslim children. Believers marry believers. You can marry Torah keepers. You can marry Nazarenes. You can marry those, as long as they don't associate partners. You got something to say about this?
No, makes sense.
Anyway, this is I'm not gonna get into this one because this is a little advanced. that next slide. All right. Okay. No marriage during term prescribed. The 3-month time prescribed. There is no blame on you. This is divorce now. There is no blame on you if ye make a offer of betrothal, or hold it in your hearts. Allah knows that ye cherish them in your hearts, but do not make a secret contract with them, except in terms honorable, nor resolve on the tie of marriage till the term prescribed is fulfilled. So if a woman is getting a divorce, she got 3 months to wait. Don't marry her within those 3 months of her prescribed time of divorce. But if you like her, y'all keep it in y'all head, okay, we're waiting for the 3 months and then I marry you. It has to be honorable. And know that Allah knoweth what is in your hearts, and take heed of him, and know that Allah is all forgiving, most forbearing. Let me see. You can read this last one. This is about divorce, obligation during divorce.
If ye divorced him before ye have touched them, and ye have appointed unto them a portion, then pay half of that which ye appointed, unless they agree to forego it, or he agreeth to forego it, in whose hand is the marriage tie. To forego is near to piety, and forget not kindness among yourselves. Allah is seer of what you do.
So the marriage tie, the man that in the hand who hand is the marriage tie is the man. And if you haven't had sex with her, half of it. But if you had sex with a woman, you don't get in. You're not supposed to get in of your what you gave her. Not supposed to get in any of it. All right. Anything you want to address? I mean, we're gonna take this into parts because there's so much more stuff I want to go over. So we'll have to do this again because I did not cover everything at all. Anything specific you want me to address?
No, I think that was definitely a good start to answering the different questions that come up about marriage. I think it was definitely a good start.
All right. Any questions? Okay, let me see what we got here. Salam everyone. Salam alaikum wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum wa salam. Yes. I have things that I need to do, inshallah. I will see you all next week, inshallah. Okay, no problem. Okay. Thank you for coming in here, Khadijah. Any questions? All right, so we're gonna revisit this because I'm not finished. We haven't even scratched the surface yet with marriage.
Wow.
Now, yeah, we got a lot of more stuff. Yeah, I didn't get everything in. All right, so I'm gonna shut it down. Would you shut it down? I think we did pretty good.
All right.
All right,
Assalamu
thank
alaikum,
you.
everyone.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much, Noor, for reading and your knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone, join us on Facebook, and we're gonna have another session about marriage. I hope you all learned something. We'll have a part 2, and I hope you have a good Sabbath. See you next time, next Saturday, around the same time, maybe a little earlier. Peace.